keyword ranking strategies are you currently using? The entire goal for ranking is how many orders can we possibly get through that one specific search term. Now, I know there's a lot of talk in our space around like, oh, target like long tail search variations of the keyword and all that stuff. That does help. It's not going to have the most impact. So the most impact for any ranking keyword is going to be getting orders specifically through that search, getting a lot of orders. So we don't just want one, we want a lot. And also making sure that our click-through rate and our conversion rate are really high on those key terms. So I'll be honest with you, the biggest impact on ranking you can have is really by picking the right keywords. So if your question was, how do I figure out what keywords do I rank on? I would say like look for things that you can afford to spend a lot, i.e. you're not losing money, meaning ACoS isn't like so crazy high that you can't afford it. You want to look for things that you have really good conversion rates. Bonus points if you have good click-through rates here, but I would go for conversion rates over click-through rates. And then you just want to like put money towards that. Now, if you say, how do I rank on this specific keyword, then that question is a little bit different. And I'm just going to tell you like push volume. Now, what I recognize is that me saying, hey, push volume through a one specific search might mean that that's not super profitable. So that's where I'm saying like the real trick is going to lie in the actual targets that you select to rank on. Other things, some pro tips and some pro hacks, are more advanced but can be helpful here, is if you have a specific search where it's like crazy expensive and you just don't really have the budget for it. Again, that goes back to keyword selection. Make sure you're selecting keywords where you can afford to spend that budget on it. But if we're on a specific keyword, you want to make sure that you're showing high enough in search that you can really get those good conversions and get those eyeballs on the product. But maybe you can't afford a ton of clicks because there's a lot of clicks and they're really expensive. And use the budget as sort of a lever to cap or meter how much money you are spending for that ranking play. Now, how effective that is going to be how many orders your market is making, and that's relative. So when I talk about trying to get a large amount of orders, it's relative to the other competition that is on that particular search page. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Ask Junglr. This is the time and the place where you can get answers to your most pressing questions surrounding Amazon advertising. I'm excited to be back. Last week on Thursday was Thanksgiving. As much as I love you guys, I did choose to spend time with family last Thursday, so we didn't go live. And Thursday before that, we had a total glitch. StreamYard completely screwed me over. We were not able to go live across several channels. No idea what happened. Tried troubleshooting it. And so we are back and we are full swing into Q4. We got through Black Friday, we got through Cyber Monday, and for those of our accounts that typically do see an upturn on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, those were very good days for us, also very profitable days as well. That's something that we've been really focusing in on around tentpole days, is the leveraging those for profitability, not just the sales increases, although those do happen. Although we do have several of our other accounts that also have some of their slowest times during these, kind of holiday seasons. Like they might have specific products where it's very utilitarian and nobody really gives it as a gift. And so for those, completely different strategy going into Q4. Those accounts do exist. So for context, I'm just going to quickly intro myself. For those of you just listening in, hey, this is called Ask Junglr because this is in a association with our advertising agency, Junglr. So we manage Amazon ads for multiple brands, 6, 7, 8 figures and beyond. We've seen it all. We've done it all. We've been doing this for 6 or 7 years at this point. Seen a lot of things. Other things to know is we have experience across multiple categories, from supplements to the baby category to highly seasonal products, giftable products, as well as clothing. It really does span the gamut, which is why I'm super excited to be able to do these, because we can allow you to get access to, not to toot my own horn, expert advice. I'll say it, on how to run the most effective Amazon ads. So the format of this show, let me go and pull up our really cool banner that tells you what you can do. So basically, whatever streaming platform you are listening in on, you can drop your question into the chat. I will pull it up. Oftentimes I have a resource, a template, a guide of some sort. Not always, but a lot of times we do, because we put out a crap ton of content. And so in that case, that also allows me to bring those up, share them with all of you. We have fun. We do screen shares here, and we help people run more effective advertising. I've gotten a lot of feedback from this. Honestly, I'm always super flattered, but some people have messaged me like, hey, I'm able to get results in this account or results in that account, or I heard something on your show that really was helpful, which is honestly exactly why I do this. Fantastic. So again, to get the most out of this, highly recommend dropping your Amazon advertising questions into the chat. Oftentimes what happens is towards the end of these things, that's when people start to notice. That's when people start to ask their questions. I would recommend, if anything I say triggers something, if you have an additional question, if you're wondering about a resource for something, I would recommend dropping it sooner rather than later, because we are here for an hour. We're about 5 minutes into that already. Sorry, I will stop my yapping and I will get to your questions. I promise. But if you ask towards the end of it, possibly you may not get your question answered. Definitely would want to do that. So I highly recommend. And with that, I will start pulling up questions. Although some people dropping in saying, hey, so hey, Elizabeth, hello yourself. Hey, happy Thursday to all of you out there. It is a wonderful Thursday. Weather is fantastic here in Florida. It is shining. It is not too hot. So I am really looking forward to helping you all out with your advertising today. All right, so our first question around Amazon advertising, which again, if you want your questions answered, drop them in the chat. We'll pull them up. We'll get to that. But a lot of new features coming out. So this question is, I've noticed that Amazon has recently introduced a new feature into sponsored products, including prompts and video elements in their beta version. Could you share your thoughts on how these updates may benefit us as sellers and best practices for utilizing new features effective in our campaign? Fantastic question. And the one that everyone I think is most interested in, and let me actually pull up a document. I told you we do screen shares. A lot of times I have internal things, and let me find it. But I sometimes have some internal stuff that not everybody, I've only shared them in some very select groups. So bear with me. I will find the one that I'm talking about, and let's pull it up and let us look at it together. All right. So this is on the prompts. All right. So the first thing that I want to let you know, and let me zoom in here so everyone can actually see my screen and what I'm sharing. So the first thing you should know about prompts is Amazon released it. There is a tab inside of Advertising Console right now for most accounts where it will say prompt, and then there should be a little beta tag next to it. And everyone I have talked to, and trust me, we are checking this tab frequently, I'm not seeing any data populate. Trust me, as soon as data populates, y'all will be the first to know. We are in multiple accounts checking it again all the time to see when it pops up. As of right now, a lot of people have access to where this should show up. However, I don't know if I've heard of anyone in my network, and maybe that could literally change today. As of right now, you're not going to be able to take advantage of this. Okay. First off, so this was released and announced during Unboxed, although to be honest, we were actually part of the beta that when this was going on, but actually in the betas that we've been a part of recently, it's like they haven't really given us data. So I don't have data to share with you of like, hey, here's how it works, here's how it not. Now, what I will say is that there was a banner across the top of ad console a while back where it was announced that ads would start serving up in Rufus results. And so that is basically what we're seeing. Now, when that was announced, it was a little bit the same as when they announced like your ads could show up off platform. It was like, all right, by the way, this is happening. You have no way to check it and you have no way to turn it off. Just FYI, I want to let you know. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. I'm spending ad spend on stuff. Now we have the option to like uncheck in the campaigns if we don't want this to happen. I'm kind of assuming something like that is going to be rolled out eventually for prompts. We will see. Time will tell. But what is the prompt for sponsored? So this is specifically again for sponsored products. Amazon is launching a new AI-powered prompt advertising with an extension. Again, you will currently see prompts or ads show up inside of Rufus results. If you're using it yourself for anything, you probably have seen those. So basically it's like as shoppers browse to the Amazon store, advertisers, again, you want to ensure that you can be seen. So prompts help advertisers get their products discovered and improve conversions naturally through Amazon's experience. Again, this is sort of frequently asked questions. The question is like, how can I enroll in prompts? The answer is enrollment is not required. All existing and new sponsored product campaigns in the US are automatically enrolled in prompts. So FYI, you don't got to do anything. You're automatically enrolled. Kind of the change that's happening is it seems like Amazon is going to make these visible to us. Because again, remember the announcement has been like, hey, FYI, prompts are happening and they're being triggered through your sponsored product ads, but we didn't have visibility of where they're showing what prompts are happening or ad spend for that. Oh, someone was saying, hey, Elizabeth, I have a single prompt showing in one campaign as a date. Interesting. I would love to know, Nick, is it an auto campaign? Is there a specific campaign that's targeted? Because my God, a lot of the times these things are happening through autos. So I would love to know if you're open to share what kind of campaigns. Now you're going to have me after this live goes down. I'm going to go and like scour all of my campaigns, honestly. That's awesome. Okay. So Nick's saying it is an auto campaign. Fantastic. So yeah, go check your auto campaigns, people. We'll see if things are being show up. So the question is, are you being charged for prompts? The answer is yes. Prompts will be charged when shoppers clicked on the prompt. So they are CPC basis, which is great. It's not a VCPM where we're paid per impressions. It's a CPC. So you have to know that people are clicking through on the prompts. So as we roll prompts across the US in the coming months, you will start to see the billing updates soon. So we should start to get some data on these. So the question is, how can I check which prompts were generated from our campaigns? You can access the prompt performance insights through the ad console, or it's in the API reporting, by the way. So if you do not see your prompts reporting, we have either one, not started billing you, or you don't have any prompts during the selected date period. All right, Nick's giving us another tip here. He says, set your time range to a larger date range. It appears it only shows for a specific date or a small range. Very good tip, Nick. I appreciate it. You're awesome. This is why I love this community sharing, which is, again, what we try and do here on the show, giving you guys some insights into what's going down. But I always appreciate when someone else sees something. We're like, hey, by the way, this is a new thing. So note on that, prompt reporting and billing will start to be available at the same time. So again, this is being rolled out. This is inside your ad groups. You should, under the ads tab, again, here's this video, which was the other thing that someone was asking about, but you can also see prompts beta, and this is going to be located inside the ad group on the ads tab. So reporting. So as for reporting, so this is we don't yet have like a downloadable report, so you will have to go and check every single campaign, although again it is available. So says Amazon. I haven't talked to our developer yet because we have other tasks and things that are like a little bit more pertinent for us to mess with, but it should also be available in the API. So those of you who have access to the ads API or you have programming experience, that may be something to look into, because you would generate your own reports via API for things that are not yet available in a downloaded report. But once this starts billing, which is to be determined, the current plan is advertisers will be able to see within the search terms tab to view prompt-based campaign metrics. Interesting. So again, is this active? So basically what Amazon did before is they were testing prompts, but they're not billing advertisers for when the prompts show up, just to test. Now what's going to change is they're going to start billing us for it, which means we should be able to eventually have some control over prompts, have some insights over prompts, and really start to, again, be a little bit more intentional. So now the other question that we had was on the video. So actually, let me pull up this one again and let's go over this. So this is showing, it's not the prompts beta. So if you go into, again, it's in sponsored products campaigns, you can now use a video in your sponsored products campaigns. And now where you find it is you go to the campaign, you go to the ad group, and then you go to the ads tab. And when you click on video, and I might actually pull up an account just so I can talk through it, although I'm not going to be able to screen share a lot of stuff due to client confidentiality. So I do want to be conscious of that. Excuse me. However, what you can now do is you can actually add a video to a sponsored products campaign. Yes, you heard that correctly. Now, this is going to be, I can tell you right now that video and sponsored products campaign is going to be huge going into the end of this year into 2026. And I can basically guarantee you that is going to be one of the most underutilized conversion rate increasers of all of the basically of like I can pretty much guarantee that. Now, why can I guarantee that? Because I know how few brands, because I talk to them all day long, are actually even using sponsored brands video to its fullest potential, let alone sponsored product videos. So sponsored product videos, let me see if I can learn about the guidelines. So the thing about the sponsored products video is that the guidelines for this are they're much more stringent. It's going to be harder for people to develop videos for this. So let me see if I can figure out where's the guidelines. Okay. So for sponsored products video, all sponsored products video have to go through, again, it's going to be like sponsored brand ads. It's going to go through approval process. Actually, I can share this tab because they've blocked out some stuff. So this is what it looks like. So your video requirements, you have to make videos at least 7 seconds long. Again, short videos are better here. Now, here is the kicker. It's prohibited content. We don't have audio. So these are not going to have any audio. You can't have any text on it. It just has to be the product in focus. So the product feature title, that's something that you put in, from my understanding, in with the video and you add in some descriptions, but you're not actually going to put text in this. This is why I say this is going to be the most underutilized, but also like the most powerful if done right. The thing that is going to make taking advantage of this new creative asset for sponsored product ads so difficult is the fact that to really utilize this, you need to show the product features benefits. It's not like a regular sponsor brand ad where you're just kind of like you have this long time frame to show. You're going to have very short snippets of video that show the product in use in a way that demonstrates the features and the benefits of the product. And I will tell you right now, because I am a shopper on Amazon, I consult with brands day in and day out, and I see the kinds of videos that are developed for sponsored brand ads. Most of those videos are completely missing the mark on really thoroughly demonstrated any benefits and features, and highly rely on text on the video to even convey any sort of product value. So that being said, to really bring this out, so AI is actually pretty good for this. So again, you're looking at the product in use. You're giving so you think about like product in use or features, like how do you visually demonstrate that something is durable within, what's the time frame on this? 2-minute upload, so 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds to demonstrate a specific feature or product benefit, and it has to be in some sort of like lifestyle way, right? Something getting beat, like, but then you also have to show the product's good. So you don't want to show it like beat up. So this is going to be, again, if you can get this right, especially in competitive categories, you will have the biggest competitive advantage. So my advice would be find your best performers, meaning your top products. Go through and see, like, do your best, use AI, use just like thought ideas, use like whatever sort of creative process you can think of to like what are the top features and benefits. Ooh, you know what is the best? I'm gonna go rogue here. I'm gonna see if I can find Product Opportunity Explorer. This is chef's kiss if you can do this analysis. And then you can also, I'm gonna see if I can pull it for you guys. Has anyone ever gone through and looked at Product Opportunity Explorer to see what are the top like things that cause a customer to buy in your particular category? Has anybody ever done that? I'd love to hear. Or if anyone who's listening in has ever used Product Opportunity Explorer. This is where really knowing what tools are available to Amazon is going to be key. And I don't know if I have it. Okay, cool. I'm going to have to look and see if I can find a good. Let's see if I can look at. Okay, so let's look at, in this case, I'm looking at a tennis balls machine. Let me share this tab. Okay, so what I did is I just went into Product Opportunity Explorer, and I just typed in tennis balls, and here we are at tennis balls machine. You can look at, again, this is the search volume and conversion rates over time. It gives you ideas on like how many new products are in here. Here's how many people are advertising and spawn, like wealth of information. If you're not leveraging Product Opportunity Explorer, totally recommend you do it. Again, you can look at the individual products. We can go down the rabbit hole with this. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, is in customer review insights and returns. Let me show you. So what this does is it takes a look at the niche of a product and it will actually aggregate. So you can do this yourself. Again, if you're looking at like all of your top competitor reviews, you want to see like, what do they like? What do they don't like? What makes people buy? Reviews are a great way to kind of suss that out. Amazon's actually doing the work for you. So if you're not leveraging this for either product research or identifying things, again, like a video or sponsored brands, or what are my main assets? What does my category care about when making a decision? Oftentimes you think you understand. You might think you understand your market, but I'm telling you, if you're not looking at research like this and you're just like pulling up ideas or what are the features that I've built into my product, maybe you got it right, but maybe your category doesn't care about this. And this is where you're going to find that out. So in terms of the tennis ball machines, we can see that for customer review insights, topics are, again, price, good, valuable, affordable, good investment. Okay, so maybe that, again, people really care about affordability in this category. That's not as interesting, but quality is good. So mostly people care about quality, solid built. That's something I can review into my features and benefits. How powerful is the machine? Or ease of use, easy to carry. That's an interesting one. So it looks like easy to carry and easy to transport or easy to operate is actually something that's really important. And it'll actually give you percentages. So easy of use, generic, it was like, oh, it was easy to use, but easy to carry. Hey, maybe people are taking it to the tennis court and they're realizing like, oh, it's really helpful to have this portable. Okay, this is a database way to understand it. So good for beginners, beginner friendly, comfortable, efficiency. Again, it gives you percentages. So durability is a huge one, fun, entertainment. So this is all of the positives, but you can also look at the negatives. So under the negatives, people are saying like, hey, it didn't last long. It broke in a couple months. That's a huge call out on the benefits and features of this product, because I can look at the aggregate understanding of all of the brands that are selling within this specific niche, first party data from Amazon. They did the review analysis for you. I can figure out not worth the price, screws hard to attach, easy to put together, easy assembly. That's a huge reason why people leave negative reviews on this specific product. Or what about returns? Why does somebody return this? Overall functionality, defective material, size it wasn't expected. Okay. In my video, now that I know that I can leverage a video and sponsor product ads, let me take a look at all of this stuff and say like, hey, ours is lightweight. It works really well. It's not too big. It can fit in your car. It's easily portable. Lasts a really long time, has really high strength. Again, you can get an idea of your specific space. What do people care about? And you can even look at over time when people return stuff, like, are people having issues? Okay, maybe sizing, people have identified that, but durability, people are making cheaper and cheaper products. So durability is getting worse. I mean, there's all kinds of insights that you can use from Product Opportunity Explorer. So I know I went on a rant there. I hope people found it valuable. But I would say if you're not using Product Opportunity Explorer to identify what shoppers care about in your specific market, and then leveraging that information to bring those insights into your creative assets, because we've seen a ramp up in 2025. It's only going to get more competitive and more critical to get right in 2026 to have good creative assets in Amazon. Now, Amazon brands, Amazon marketers have gotten spoiled. We've gotten so spoiled because if we were running meta ads, if we were running a Google ads or other ad types, creatives are a integral and huge part of performance in other ads platforms. DSP, yes. So I would say if you're doing upper funnel DSP, creatives have always been important, but you could kind of get away with it, right? Like Amazon made it easy for us with sponsored product ads, and we said, I'll just throw up a sponsor brands video ad. I'm not going to look and see if it does well. I'm not going to take a look at what is the best kind of performing ad types out there. What is the best performing video out there, right? We got spoiled. If you want to win in 2026, again, through the end of this year into 2026, if you want to win the game, if you want to get lower CPCs, if you want to get higher click-through rates, if you want to get better conversion rates, if you want to get better performance for your advertising, you're going to have to start paying attention to your creatives. And I can guarantee you that if you are able to right now through the end of this year, maybe, I mean, the holidays are coming, we're peak Q4, stuff is crazy, I get it. But at least start to think about what kind of videos can I start leveraging? What kind of videos can I start creating? What are the features? What are the benefits? How do I start to develop these creatives for my sponsored product ads now and leveraging it? Because it was announced at Unboxed, and then shortly after it showed up as beta inside of the ad console. So it's available to you now. If you have the creative assets, or you can pull something out of a well-performing sponsored brands video ad right now, again, it has to fit a more specific criteria. It's a little bit harder to really develop a good video for this, and they do have very stringent requirements for this. But if you can start to get ahead of the game, start testing, you're going to be miles ahead, because I can guarantee you there are still brands, surprisingly enough, who are dragging their feet on sponsor brands videos still after how long it's been out, or putting up the crappiest video, or like the worst creative, like don't even get me started on creatives that I'm seeing for sponsor brands, like both in their headline images as well as the video. Like some brands are so far behind. It's stunning. And then you throw a wrench in the works of these videos have to be specific for each individual child ASIN as well, by the way. So there's like, instead of being able to create like one massive sponsor brands and we're like, we'll just kind of roll it out for this, right? Like now we're having to like get an individual video for every single child. Like it's attached to the child ASIN. So lots of stuff. Question, have you seen any performance metrics coming through the sponsored brands video campaigns? Mine are delivering, still not any showing any performance metrics. Yeah, it's kind of a hit or miss. Expect data to be super low on it as they roll it out. They're still, so they have released it. They have been beta testing it for a while. But their internal development team is still assessing the consumer interactions with it. So they've done enough testing to be confident that it doesn't degrade. Because one thing that Amazon, they put out a lot of ad types, right? Like the page has just completely been flooded with ad placements, where way so more than there was a year ago, miles different than it was 2 years ago. But that being said, they still are very conscious of the consumer experience. And so because of that, this ad type actually takes up a lot of real estate on the search page, which is fantastic for you. But it does mean that they are rolling this out carefully. From my experience, they're wanting to make sure that there's a positive consumer experience, which means that the ad placements are going to be a lot smaller than they are typically. Now, the other thing that I will say is I'm interested to know where you uploaded it. one of the ways that we're kind of testing is going to be testing the sponsored products video in a like what we found works really good for AMC audiences is attaching it to a sponsored products auto campaign, because the broader targeting or the more possible search terms or targets or ad placements, that's probably a better way to put it, that you can kind of open up to triggering with your ad, the more possibility you have to trigger these new ad types, because again, just the availability of placement is going to be it's much smaller. So I would recommend, I don't know, Nick, if you want to follow up, I'd be curious to know what type of campaign you added it to. But if you're not seeing it work, first off, I would say definite kudos for getting it up ahead of everybody and ahead of schedule. You're miles ahead of a lot of people out there. It's fantastic. The second thing that I would say is I would test it in a auto campaign and see if that allows you to trigger a placement. But I would expect it to be very low data, probably for a little while. For one unique product, should I compare search term query report and search term report for possible converting keywords, or should I go to Product Opportunity Explorer to search for BSR listing, etc.? Good question. So I would say if you are for possible converting keywords, let me think through this. I like looking at Product Opportunity Explorer to understand the market better. And I like Search Query Performance Report better for identifying places where I convert. Now, in terms of comparing Search Query Performance Report to search term reports, what I will say is that the two data sets will never line up. And so when you're cross-analyzing these two things, I'm not a huge fan of like cross-analysis from a order, like where am I getting more orders kind of thing, or where do I have good sales velocity? But what I will say I like search query performance for is for understanding how my product performance compares to the market on a search term level. That is where this analysis is like chef's kiss amazing. So I like to compare the data in search query performance report. I like to look at how my product conversion rate compares to the market on that individual specific search query. And I like to compare how my click-through rate on that individual product for the individual search query compares to the market. Now, this is something that you will have to calculate. So how you calculate it is click-through rate is clicks divided by impressions. I had to take a second. Clicks divided by impressions. And so what you'll do is you'll look at I forget what it's called. It's like the average. I'm gonna have to go look at an account now so I can give you the correct data on it. But you're going to want to look at the brand analytics. I'm going to look at search analytics, search query performance. Okay. So you're going to total count. That's what it's called. Okay. So you see where it says search funnel impressions and search funnel clicks. So you're going to divide the total count search funnel clicks to the total count search funnel impressions. And then you're going to divide your brand count by your brand count impressions. And that's how you're going to get your click-through rate versus the market click-through rate on that one individual search. And then to get your conversion rate, you're going to divide total count search funnel purchases by total count search funnel clicks. So again, orders divided by clicks. And then you're going to divide your brand count purchases divided by brand count clicks. And then that is going to give you your conversion rate, again, on that individual search query. So where I like to do this is it's kind of triggered by two things. One, we can run this analysis and say, okay, where do we convert better than the market? Which specific keywords should we go after? Now, caveat on this is that the search query performance report does give you search query volumes, which can be helpful. But sometimes you'll find things that like it says you convert really well on, but the volume isn't really high. So again, when we're going after keywords, if we're using like a keyword research tool, when we're going after something for ranking, we like to have at least 500 monthly search volume on something. That doesn't really equate to the search query performance volume, but just to give you context on like a keyword tool, that's kind of what we look at. And so if you find something, you're like, oh my gosh, I convert really awesome on it, but it gets like not that many search impressions, then like, are we really going to get some volume out of it? So you do want to pay attention to that. So the search query performance volume is the number of times the search query during the selected time period. So that's the way that Amazon kind of equates that. Now, again, by the way, search query volume and your other like external ads tools, they're going to be like, they don't line up. Just FYI, it's not like either of them are wrong. Amazon obviously is first party data, so it's going to have the most, but it does say important. We include all queries issued within that day. For example, if the same query is issued by the same customer session in a 24-hour period more than once, we'll include all of those instances. So it could be somebody like searching around and doing a bunch of stuff, and that would still be counted as like multiple searches on that search query. So just an FYI, that's why like volumes, it may seem weird. Like if there's a particular type of query that shoppers oftentimes will go back and type it in like multiple times and then like redo, like there's a lot of like browsing and stuff, you will see like a much higher volume. But a much higher volume in search query doesn't always necessarily mean that there's a lot more shoppers. Right? Because if you think about it, even though that person maybe searched that one search query like 25 times, that doesn't mean there's 25 potential purchases. That just means like, again, different data sets, different ways to calculate. But I do like to look at that to say, okay, is there something we're missing? And then what I love to do is take that information of where we convert better and then go and use that to look at my search term report. And in my search term report, what I'm evaluating for is how am I doing? Like, what is my ad performance? So this could be a great evaluation if I'm like, oh, I convert much higher than the market, but like maybe I've been really conservative on my ACoS for this target. Or maybe you go and search it, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not targeting it at all. Then maybe I need to go after this keyword. So I would like evaluate search query performance for things that I know I should do well on. And then I would use my advertising search term report to say like, hey, do I have this target in my account? If I do, what is the performance on it? Can I be more aggressive on it? Do I not have it at all? Then, I should launch it. And that's kind of the workflow. By the way, if there's any follow-up questions on that, definitely let me know. And I'm going to take a quick drink. Excuse me. Sorry, my voice is about to go. Nick had a follow-up on what he put the video ads on. One of my highest velocity broad campaigns, it gets much exposure than the auto campaigns. I will test on auto too. Yeah, I would love to hear. I mean, if you're willing to report back to us, that would be fantastic. I mean, it sounds like you were intentionally thinking through that, which going through bot match. And I'm not sure if there's like specific placements, maybe on product pages or other ones that these trigger. Again, We'll just have to kind of suss out and see as the data rolls in. But when it was first released, like that tab was blank. And I want to say it's only been like a week or so that we even got access to upload things or that got filled out. So I would expect them to be like rapidly expanding that. And high volume times like Q4 are great times because there's a lot more search volume. So, hopefully we'll find some stuff. But I would definitely look for both the brain fart, can't think, prompts to be rapidly, at some point they're going to show up and Amazon's really going to start pushing into it. And then I also expect video to become really, really big in 2026. And then they have a lot of stuff they're rolling out. So question, I created a one campaign under one parent with 3 child ASINs. How does advertising of the child, let's say one of my keywords is palm coffee, do they rotate in the exposure and how frequent is that? Good question. For this, I always love to go to Amazon and do a screen share. So I will say, no, they do not rotate equally. Now, the idea is that the thought is that Amazon is going to test all of these for me and they'll just kind of determine which one works best. In my experience, that is not correct. Now, what I would say, the fact that you created one campaign, you have just one parent and there's 3 ASINs and you put all 3 of those ASINs into the campaign, in our experience, that is the way that we do it. And that is the way that we have found it can work out really well. Now, I cannot type and talk at the same time. I apologize. So let me share this one instead. All right, so let's go in here. So the way that it is going to work in like let's say you have the 3 different variations, right? Now, I've heard reports and I've seen it happen that there are occasions where more than one child ASIN can actually show up on the search page. I'm hearing that happens. I haven't seen it as much, and it might be Amazon testing some things, and I think it's in some very specific instances. So, typically speaking, Amazon will only show one of your variations for one ad placement per campaign or like per child ASIN, if that makes sense. So let me show you what I mean by ad spot. So these ones right here, this is the search grid. These are considered like one and a specific ad placement, right? Because this is search grid. Now this trending now widget, and sometimes there's other ones that is considered a ad placement. So it's possible that your product could show up here and then could also show up here where in this trending now, so also show up here as well. So you could trigger quote multiple spots on a search page, but they wouldn't be more than one ad slot, if that makes sense. So how do they rotate in exposure? They do rotate to some degree. I'm not 100% sure the algorithm that determines that they do rotate. In my experience, typically speaking, a lot of the times once one of the products starts to perform and be a bestseller and have the kind of the best performance, it does typically sort of like latch on to a specific product is what I've noticed. Now, how that product gets determined, and it still will spread impressions to some degree across multiple products. And then, so this is an excellent follow-up question. Doesn't these child ASINs compete in the ranking juice for the keyword? No, they do not, because the ranking is determined on a parent ASIN level. It's not on a child ASIN level. And this is actually where if variations are done correctly, you can actually exponentially increase your sales velocity and really just not spike your, like move up rapidly in BSR if done correctly. So think of every single search out there as sort of like traffic inflows to your listing on your product, aka your parent ASIN, right? I've seen this work really well on a lot of, like, the one in particular I can think of is like was in the baby category. So there was a yellow variation, there was a blue variation, there was a pink variation. Generally speaking, right, blue is boy, pink is girl, and yellow is somewhat generally neutral. The yellow product performed excessively better beyond all of the other products. However, because there was a blue one, we could kind of go after like baby boy keywords, and there was the pink one, and we were targeting baby girl keywords with those specific products because we could kind of send those products out into other markets. So let's say that you had a black product, right, that kind of performed a specific feature. And let's say like this product is the same as like a lot of other ones in the market, but then all of a sudden you notice that a bunch of brown keywords, same product, but people are looking for a brown variation, and they're still purchasing your black one because it essentially has the same function, but you notice that there isn't really a brown variation out there. So what you can do is you can take that, those insights, you could take that brown, make a brown variation, put those on a parent listing, and then you sort of send that brown one out into the market, targeting brown keyword variations, and then all of a sudden you have this new influx of traffic source because everyone's attracted to the brown, but it's still being directed to the parent ASIN. Well, if you start getting a whole bunch of inflow of traffic that you weren't necessarily eligible before because you didn't have a product or a variation on that listing that like served that market, but now you do, and so there's that new traffic stream. If done correctly, all of a sudden your sales velocity, oftentimes your ranking, everything just like shoots up and spikes. That's why if you've ever heard of a brand or a seller talking like, oh my gosh, I launched this new variation, and then like all of a sudden like my sales took off and I like doubled my sales. And then you've heard other people say like, yeah, I launched a variation, like I'm expecting to like double my sales because I have a new one, and then nothing happens. Well, that's the difference between somebody who has launched a variation because they're trying to like, they recognize that there's a specific market that is, or a specific subsection of the market that is interested in this sort of slight different offering, or another seller who was like, hey, this product's doing really well. Maybe I just do a blue one. I think that would be cool, right? And they're not like, what does the market want? And then so in the second one where somebody just like launched maybe it's like a different color that nobody really asked for, right? And some people kind of like this one and some people kind of like this one, but it's not like you can pull in a different traffic stream. They're still kind of serving the same customer avatar. Now, that can be okay if you're talking about something like clothing or blankets where, there are sometimes where people don't really like that rose pattern, but you have a different rose pattern that appeals to them. So, okay, maybe you made the sale, and that can spike conversion rates sometimes. But if you can create a variation that, again, serves another subsection of the market and then just really just drives new traffic that you weren't really speaking to before into that listing, that is where you see just like things take off and people talking about, I launched a variation and like doubled my sales. That's why that happens. It's because they identified a gap in the market that people were looking for, and all of a sudden they're eligible for just like a brand new source of traffic that, again, is because it's going to the same listing. It just adds that much more on top of what was already there. So I don't know if that completely answered your question. Probably not. We have a couple more minutes left. Let me try and answer your question. So let me just tell you about how we optimize these campaigns, by the way. So it sounds like you created one campaign with 3 different ASINs. So what I would recommend doing is going in, maybe about a week to a couple weeks. I would look at it after about a week, but if you don't have enough data to make a determination, I would look at it after 2 weeks. But what I would recommend doing is going in and then just looking at the ad tab inside of Ad Console and say like, hey, which of my variations perform best here? Because what often you'll find, sometimes you have two that perform well, but oftentimes you'll have at least one dragger where it's got a bunch of clicks. And you know how you look at a lot of times you look at targets and you say like, wait, how many clicks did this get? Oh man, my conversion rate on this product is on average 10, which means that I get 10 clicks on average. And this one got 20 clicks and no sales. And this one is, driving a lot of orders. So now I know this one doesn't work. You would want to use that same evaluation just on the individual child ASINs. And then you can go through and pause the ones that are underperforming. And that will help just make sure that the products that do perform are the ones that get the traffic, are the ones that are getting the visibility in the ads. And then if somebody wants to purchase the other variation, they can always come in. Ryan Kramer showing up, saying good stuff as always. I appreciate it, Ryan. I appreciate you joining in and glad you all are finding value in this. I got a couple thumbs up, so I guess I'm hitting a nerve in a good way on this show today. And if anyone else, I'll leave 1 to 2 seconds left. My voice is about to blow. So if anyone has a last minute ad question, feel free to drop it into the chat. I'll pull it up. We'll squeak one last one in. Otherwise, I think I will go because my voice is about to go. But yes, I will say in recap, 2026 is going, what is the lowest? All right, I'm going to tell you a number that you're going to say is probably not possible. You're saying what's the lowest total A cost you've seen in apparel brands? 4%. Caveat to that is they are a nationally recognized brand that has a lot of brand pull behind it. I would say that's if you have a ginormous influx and you have a lot of branded traffic to go off of. If you have a decent amount of branded traffic, but you're still trying to capture market share on Amazon, you might be looking at somewhere between a 9 to 12% total A cost. If you are an apparel brand that doesn't have a lot of brand to fall back, like branded search to fall back on, you're probably looking at somewhere between a 15 and a 20% total A cost. Now, caveat is 20% is when you're really trying to push and capture market share. You could probably be more comfortable at running at a 15, but that's been my experience. Question on, so right now I don't have any like formal training programs out there. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to put them out there. Maybe at some point. I would say this show every single week, this live, same time, same place on Thursdays. Again, except for when it's Thanksgiving and I'm going to spend time with family. But I would say this is the best place. So tell your friends if they want to get some Amazon ad advice. Feel free to show up here on Thursdays. Again, you can ask specific questions like what kind of total A costs are you seeing in apparel? What kind of total A costs are you seeing in supplements? How are you guys looking at the baby category? And again, we've seen it all. We work with some really large brands, and then we also have insights on like, maybe a little bit more of a private label seller, because both of those, again, you can lean on branded, not lean on branded. That will change the dynamics. So a lot of experience in our many years, and hopefully many, many more years going forward as Amazon advertising changes. Feel free to tune in again on Thursdays, 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. And we'll keep you apprised of the new stuff coming out and how you can use it in your Amazon advertising. And with that, I will bid you all a good day, and I will catch you guys all same time, same place next week. Looking forward to it. And that wraps up this episode of the Ask Junglr Amazon Advertising Podcast. I hope you found these insights and strategies helpful in your Amazon PPC journey. Remember, if you have a burning Amazon ad question that you'd like answers to, head over to junglr.com/live to join our next live Q&A session. Until next time, keep optimizing those ads and stay hungry.